There are things in this hobby that almost everyone believes. I believe them. I even repeated some of them. And sometimes the things that sound the most logical are the ones that can create the most problems. So let's take a closer look at a few of those beliefs and see what actually holds up. For a long time, I believed that highly porous ceramic or pumice style biological media was far superior to regular sponges. It just made sense to me. More pores, more surface area, better filtration. That's what I heard over and over again. But after reading some of the research, I realized it's not that simple. The bacteria that clean our tanks, the ones that convert ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate, need oxygen. They are aerobic bacteria, which means they work best when there's steady water flow and plenty of oxygen. Research shows that most of these beneficial bacteria lives on well-oxygenated outer surfaces, not deep inside tiny pores where water flow is weaker. While porous ceramic media is durable and does offer lots of surface area on paper, that number doesn't automatically mean better real-world performance. Regular sponges allow water to move evenly through the entire block, bringing oxygen and ammonia to all surfaces. That's why sponge filters are widely used in fish farms and breeding setups. In practical terms, a properly sized sponge can process ammonia just as effectively as premium ceramic media. In the end, media volume, steady flow, oxygen, and overall stability matter far more than the specific material inside your filter. This is another one that I believed for the longest time, and I even mentioned it in some of my videos. And to be fair to myself, it is definitely better not to use tap water when cleaning your filter media. But let's go over the details and ask the real question: how bad is it really? The common warning is that tap water will instantly kill all your beneficial bacteria because of chlorine or chloramine. It sounds logical. Tap water is treated to kill bacteria, so it makes sense that it will kill the bacteria in your filter. But when you look at the research on nitrifying bacteria, the situation is more nuanced. Disinfection depends on how strong the chlorine is and how long bacteria are exposed to it. Tap water is treated at levels meant to make water safe for humans, not to sterilize thick biofilms. Beneficial bacteria in your filter don't float freely in the water. They live inside a biofilm, a slimy protective layer attached to surfaces. Research shows bacteria inside biofilms are much more resistant to disinfectants than free-floating bacteria. A quick rinse under room temperature tap water for a minute or two is very different from soaking your media in chlorinated water for half an hour. A brief rinse might reduce some bacteria on the outer surface, but it does not sterilize the media. In established tanks with adequate media volume, the remaining bacteria quickly repopulate. What actually causes filter crashes more often is replacing all the media at once, letting it dry out, or aggressively overcleaning. So yes, using tank water is the safest best practice, but a quick tap water rinse isn't the instant cycle killer many of us were taught to fear. By the way guys, we're doing a special deal on Luigia ovalis for the month of March. If you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. And if you're enjoying the video, remember to like and subscribe. This is one of the most repeated myths in the hobby, that fish growth depends on tank size. The idea is that a fish will only grow to the size of its tank, as if it can sense the glass and adjust its body accordingly. But in reality, their growth is driven mainly by genetics, nutrition, hormones, and overall health, not by the physical dimensions of the aquarium. When a fish is kept in a tank that's too small, it doesn't choose to stay small. What actually happens is stress-induced stunting. Chronic stress from limited space, poor water quality, or crowding elevates stress hormones like cortisol. Research shows prolonged stress can suppress growth and weaken the immune system. Stunting isn't harmless. Fish that are chronically undersized often have reduced lifespans, organ strain, and greater susceptibility to disease. Their bodies might appear smaller, but that doesn't mean they're healthier or properly developed. The myth persists because stressed fish grow slowly, When given adequate space, stable parameters, proper filtration, and good nutrition, fish grow to their natural genetic potential. I love a clear tank. Crystal clear water that makes it look like your fish are flying. There's something incredibly satisfying about that polished, invisible water look. But can we actually use water clarity as an indicator of a healthy tank? The truth is, clarity and health are not the same thing. Clear water mostly tells you that mechanical filtration is doing its job, removing visible particles like debris, dust, and suspended algae. It says nothing about what's dissolved in the water. The most dangerous substances in an aquarium, ammonia and nitrite, are completely invisible. Toxic nitrogen compounds have no color and no smell at harmful levels. A tank can look like glass and still be chemically unstable. On the other hand, slightly tinted water, like water with tannins from driftwood, might look dirty to us, but can be perfectly safe, and sometimes even beneficial for certain species. In nature, many fish live in tea-colored or slightly murky water. Our idea of crystal clear is more about aesthetics than biology. Clarity can also create a false sense of security. A heavily stocked tank with strong mechanical filtration can look flawless, while dissolved waste slowly builds up. That's why testing parameters and observing fish behavior matter far more than judging the tank by how it looks. Clear water is beautiful. It's a good sign that particles are being removed, but it is not proof of biological stability. In aquariums, what you can see is often what matters most. Plants absorb ammonia, ammonium, and nitrate as nutrients for growth. Research and experiments in aquatic systems show that fast-growing plants can significantly reduce nitrogen compounds. In some cases, dense plant mass can even prevent ammonia from ever rising to detectable levels. But plants are not a replacement for biological filtration. Beneficial nitrifying bacteria are still responsible for stabilizing nitrogen waste long-term. Plants prefer ammonium, but their uptake depends on light, CO2, growth rate, and overall health. At night, plants stop photosynthesizing and consume oxygen instead of producing it. In a heavily stocked tank, relying on plants alone can create oxygen fluctuations. Filtration does more than just process ammonia. It provides consistent water movement, oxygenation, and mechanical removal of debris. Without circulation, dead spots can form, waste can accumulate, and oxygen levels can drop, especially in warmer water. If you only have a few fish and a lot of plants, it's possible to run minimal filtration. But that works because the overall bioload is small and carefully balanced, not because plants magically replace bacteria and flow. Plants are powerful allies in an aquarium. They reduce waste, compete with algae, and improve stability, but they don't eliminate the need for filtration. If you know any other aquarium myths, share them in the comments with a small explanation of why you believe them to be a myth in the first place.